Welcome back to Coding Forever YouTube channel. This is your boy back again, and Isaac. And in this video, we're going to be looking at a classic Fizzbuzz problem. And this is a very common interview question come across for the classic Fizzbuzz problem. So it has a very small trick in it. And in case you understand that very trick, and very can easily do it. So what is the Fizzbuzz problem? So this is a brief description of the Fizzbuzz problem we are going to be looking at. So let us first read through this question. So the question is telling us to write a program that console logs the numbers from 1 n, but for multiples of 3 print Cs instead of that very number. And for multiples of 5 to print bars. Here we shall just print bars, not that very number. Okay? And if a number is both a multiple of 3 and a multiple of 5, the print is bars. And if a number doesn't fulfill any of those three conditions, just print that very number. So here we have an example of the number 5. So we're going to have for a number, if you pass the number 5 in this function, we have to print numbers from 1 to that very number 5. That's why you say print numbers from 1 to n. So I have numbers from 1 to, so here instead of having 3, say you're going to print is. Then we continue to 4, 5. Instead of having a number 5, just print is. So the first challenge of this solution, or the first trick, determine if a number is a multiple of that very number or not. For you to determine a number which is a multiple or not, you shall have use an operator in JavaScript. There's a specific operator we use to determine if a number is a multiple of that very number or not. Let us first remind ourselves how to determine if a number is a multiple or not. So we're going to we shall have to go to the terminal. Remember, in our terminal here you can execute JavaScript using Node. So we're going to briefly go into a Node terminal. We're going to go into a Node terminal briefly. So we just type node dot enter. So in here, I want to determine if a number is a multiple of 3. So let us look at the number like 5. We shall say 5 modulus. We're going to use the modulo sign, the percentage sign. So this sign determines this number here is a multiple of 3. So 5 modulus 3, the output of this will be 2. Meaning, when you divide, this means that when you divide 5 divided by 3, you get a remainder of 2. What you remain with, remainder of 2. And if it's 3 modulo 3, end up 0, because 3 divided by 3, you get a remainder of 0. So we're going to check and say if 5 modulo 3 is it equal to 0? No. This 5 modulo 3 is not equal to 0, which implies that this 5 is not a multiple of 3. But a number like 3 modulo 3 is equal to 0. Yes, true. Which implies that 3 is a what? It's a multiple of 3. How about a number like 15 modulus 3? So 15 modulus 3 is equal to 0. Yes, it's equal to 0, implying that when you divide 3 divided by 3, 15 divided by 3, you get a remainder of 0. So that's how I want to check if a number is a multiple of that way of a number. So we're going to check if a number 15 is it a multiple of 3. This is the technique we're going to use. The same will apply for 5. 15 modulo 5. is equal to 0, implying that 15 is the multiple of 5. So this is the technique you're going to use. This is the trick you're going to use to do this problem, come up with that solution. So I'll exit here by pressing Ctrl C twice. So we are back in our terminal here. So we've understood how to determine if a number is a multiple of a certain number. So inside our function Fizzbuzz, we're going to put the logic. So we're going to loop through. We're going to loop through from 1 to that very number and go on console logging those numbers. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to say, we're going to use a for loop inside here. For we're going to loop from 1 up to that very number, num. We're going to use let I equal to 1. For I is equal to 1, that I should be less or equal to num. Then we shall go on incrementing I plus I. We are looping from 1 up to that number n, num. So in case we're having 5 here as the argument, we'll be looping from, I want to loop through that number 5 from 1, 5. Having 15 shall be looping from 1 to 10. We are going to loop from I equal to 1, I is equal to num. We're going to go on incrementing. So instead of having 1 for our first loop, when we increment, we are going to go to 2, to 3, to 4, until we reach num. This idea, we're going to use if statements. We're going to check and say if I, this I we are currently on, modulus modulo 3, is it equal to 0, and I modulo 5 equal to 0. If this condition is true, because they told us here, if a number is both a multiple of 3 and 5, we're going to print Fizzbuzz. This idea, we're going to just console log Fizzbuzz. So this condition here is going to create for if a number is both a multiple of 3 and a multiple of 5 at the same time. So the next thing I'm going to check and say else if you want I don't want to have multiple if statements here. Instead, we're going to use another keyword called else if. Else if we're going to pass a condition here for the number if it's a multiple of 3. So I modulo 3 is equal to 0. We are checking if that's a multiple of 3. If yes, we're going to just console.log is another condition would be if a number is a multiple of 5. Else if is I modulo 5 is equal to 0. Then we are going to just console.log yes. We're going to print just buzz. Then if a number I, we are looping the number I, if it doesn't fulfill any of these 3 conditions, just print it. Else, just console.log. Printing, I mean console logging. Just console.log. That's what I imply by printing. For you to print anything on the console in JavaScript, use console.log function. Console.log I, just print I. As simple as that. So this challenge seems to be very easy in case you understand the trick behind it. What's the trick? The trick is determining if the number is a multiple of either 3 or 5. Okay? So I'm going to execute our function here. Fizzbuzz. Let us first pass out a number like, let me say 5. Let us check for 5. I come here and I execute my terminal. Node, execute node. Executing fizzbuzz.js file. .js file. You see, we are looping from 1, 5. Having 1, 2. Then 3. Instead of printing 3, instead we print fizz. Fizz. Then 4. Then 5. Instead of printing 5, I will be having buzz. Wonderful. Wonderful. So we've passed this challenge. But I'm let me test for 15. Let's check for 15 because I want to also see this condition passing the condition of this buzz. I also want to see this condition passing the condition of this buzz. So to get that, we have to get a number which is both a multiple of 3 and a multiple of 5. And that number can be 10. Let's test this one and see. Let me first clear the terminal. Also, then node fizzbuzz.js file. We are going to have 1, 2, then 3. Instead of printing 3, we shall print is, then 4. Instead of printing 5, I'll print buzz because 5 is a multiple of 5. Then I'll print buzz. Then 6. 6 is a multiple of 3. Instead of printing 6, I'll print fizz. Then 7, 8, then 9. Instead of printing 9, I'll print fizz. Then from 9, I'll go to 10. Instead of printing 10, I'll print buzz because 10 is a multiple of 5. We shall go to 11, then 12. Instead of printing 12, I'll print fizz. Then I'll go because 12 is a multiple of 3, and 13, 14, then 15. Instead of printing 15, I'll print fizzbuzz because 15 is both a multiple of 3 and a multiple of 5, because when you divide 15 by 3, you get a remainder of 0. In case you divide 15 by 5, you still get a remainder of 0, implying that 15 is both a multiple of 3 and multiple of 5 at the same time. Wonderful. We've succeeded in solving this very tricky challenge, which is called a classic Fizzbuzz problem. It's a very common interview question you come across in your interviews. So this is how you solve it. First of all, you loop through that number from 1 to that very number by writing a for loop. Then inside our for loop, we check if a number is a multiple of both 3 and 5. If it's indeed a multiple of 3 and 5, we just console.log fizzbuzz. Another condition we check if a number is only a multiple of 3 alone. If it's only a multiple of 3, print fizz. Another condition we check for if the number is only a multiple of 5. If it's only a multiple of 5, we print buzz. Then at the end, the number doesn't fulfill any of these 3 conditions, just print that very number. That's how we come up with our solution to this problem. So I come to the end of this video. I'd like to encourage all of you to like my video. I want you also to subscribe and share so that I can come up with other videos that are educative. Please like, share, subscribe. Bye bye. Let us meet in another video. Bye bye.